Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
If you've seen Nevada Newsmakers before and you thought it was a hot show, you ain't seen nothing yet. Andy's got the rundown.
Dr. Frank Luntz is a nationally known political commentator, an advisor on the series West Wing, and a political pollster. Today he tells us what he's discovered about Nevada and its attitudes towards medical malpractice. Sam?
Thanks, Andy. And the pundits today, Greg Ferraro, Andy Barbano on the barbed wire, and Giunchigliani. It's all coming up on the all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
Earn triple cash points every day during February at the Gold Dust West. To celebrate, we're bringing back the classics.
Earn once, twice, 3 times the points.
With triple cash points, you'll remember.
Win 3 times.
3 times the cash. Triple cash points happens the entire month of February. You'll enjoy.
3 is the winningest number.
3 times the cash. All day, all machines, all month. Using your Gold Rush card in February will be music to your ears.
Folks, you must see what's new in Virginia City. Ride the V&T train all the way to Gold Hill. Explore a mine, if you dare. Visit Piper's Opera House. Watch the gunslingers shoot it up on C Street. Shop in unique stores. Listen to honky tonk in the historic saloons. You can't see it all in one day, so spend the night. Virginia City, where the West comes alive. Come up and spend the night in our hotels, motels, and RV park.
When he was just a young boy, Ken Dillon laid back, looked up at the stars, and thought to himself, hey, this house could use a roof. Today, Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal offers a complete line of Firestone roofing products for any type of roof, from commercial to industrial and residential. With a Firestone roof from D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal, what's overhead stays overhead. Call Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal today for a free estimate. Yes, the technology sure has changed, but after all these years, Ken still enjoys playing with houses.
Feel it, the magic is everywhere. The action, the style, the food, the flair. Play with us, stay with us in Reno, say El Dorado, and live the excitement. El Dorado, Reno's shining star. Live the excitement.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad, political analyst Andy Engleman on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the News 4 Broadcast Center, here's Sam Shad.
Dr. Frank Luntz is one of the nation's foremost pollsters, and he is here today because he's been conducting a very interesting poll on Nevada.
Welcome. And let me just clarify for the benefit of the public, you are a Dr. PhD, not an MD. Is that correct?
In fact, the actual title is Doctorate of Philosophy, a DPhil from Oxford University.
Okay, great. So your number one finding in this was that people do believe there is a major health care crisis in Nevada right now. Is that correct?
It's amazing because when we do polling all across the country, we find that there are a lot of differences usually by gender, by age, by income, by party identification. In Nevada, no matter who you are afraid of the healthcare system, and you are particularly afraid of the lack of affordability, availability, and accessibility, and to a great degree, you blame the legal system and lawsuit abuse for that fear.
Okay, we're going to follow up with these. I want to just run through a couple of these headings and then go back and ask you more questions. Another one of your findings was that you think the rising number of medical malpractice lawsuits in Nevada will make it more difficult to obtain access to quality medical care, or easier to obtain medical quality care, or do these lawsuits have no impact on your ability to do so? And 80% said more difficult. A third one of the big numbers here was assume that the reforms in the legislature are not passed. If you had to choose, please tell us who you think will be hurt most. And here it was not doctors or lawyers or insurance companies, but 78% said patients. Another one here is, how would you want your state representative and state senator to vote on this proposal, yes or no? 76% said yes, only 16% said no. And in some cases, insurance rates for Nevada physicians have jumped from $40,000 to $200,000 per year in 1 year alone. These rates apply to all physicians, including those who have never had a malpractice suit filed against them. Concerned, 85%, little concerned, 14%.
I mean, the numbers are overwhelming. And I want to go back to a couple of those points. This is not about, I just want to emphasize.
Actually, can I ask you, first of all, who paid for the poll?
It was done by a group that is interested in bringing common sense to the system here in Nevada.
And that is?
Nevadans to keep our doctors.
Okay, so it was the doctors group that actually paid for this poll.
That's irrelevant. That is completely irrelevant.
That may be, but it's good for the public to know that that's who paid for the poll.
Absolutely.
It certainly has a bearing on the way the questions were written.
And, well, that's not the case. I mean, this poll basically says to anyone who reads it that if you vote against this legislation, if you allow the current system to exist, if you don't stop all these frivolous lawsuits and all this overburdensome process in the legal system, doctors are going to leave, patients are going to be hurt, and there are going to be a lot more victims here in Nevada. And you know what? The Nevada people agree with that.
Dr. Luntz, doesn't that actually almost begin to make the case for socialized medicine? We're seeing that the private medicine, it's just not working?
Well, it's not working not because the doctors aren't working and not because the healthcare system isn't working, it's because the legal system isn't working. There's a number that you didn't talk about, which is we ask people, when it comes to courts, lawsuits, and the Nevada legal system, which best describes the level of change that is needed? Over 70% said either significant major changes or a complete overhaul and restructuring. And you know who's most concerned about this, who wants the most restructuring? Senior citizens. Why? Because they're the ones that are affected most by health care, and they're the ones that are most frightened that the doctors won't be there when they need them.
On your poll here, I see that he says, which one of the following groups do you think is most responsible? And insurance companies came in far and away, 37%. Over lawyers, that they are holding insurance companies responsible, not so much lawyers.
Look, there's enough responsibility to go around. The question for this poll was, how do you solve the problem? And the problem is solved by making those changes, and the legislature already took the first step. But here's what's interesting. Over half of the state knows that the legislature made these changes in the special session. And yet, even among those people who know that changes were made, over 80% believe that it didn't go far enough. What they're saying to the elected officials here is, thank you for taking a first step, but we want, in fact, we demand that you go further.
Well, Dr. Luntz, the changes that the legislature made were in keeping with the Constitution. In fact, that's still going to be tested in the court. If they make further changes to it, that's going to delay the effectiveness of these entire laws from having any effect on insurance premiums.
Well, I will tell you that the changes that we offered them, things like saying that doctors really should not become rich at the expense, not doctors, that lawyers should not become rich at the expense of their clients, that you need to find some way to reinstitute controls so that every lawsuit doesn't end up jamming the courts. These are common sense changes. And on every one that we offered, the people in Nevada, over 70% said yes, this is something that they want.
We're going to take a break here, and we're going to hold you over. Bill Bradley was going to be on the show today. We're going to have him next week. We'll hold you over. Dr. Frank Luntz back with us right after this.
CTX can help you negotiate your best deal. We've been your home team advantage for over a decade. Call us today because at CTX, local service still matters.
Yeah, with CTX, you're homeward bound.
Do you know you can still buy a nice car for a great price and a low payment? The car is a Mitsubishi Lancer, and it's only available at Reno Mitsubishi. The Lancer has style, a ton of neat features, and with a lease payment of $169 a month, it's even more fun to drive. So if you want a great deal on a Mitsubishi Lancer, find your way down to Reno Mitsubishi today, because at this payment, they won't last long.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. 7 award-winning dining choices. Experience the Atlantis Seafood Steakhouse tonight. Winner of Wine Spectator's Award of Excellence. The local choice for food and fun, Atlantis.
Atlantis.
At Sushi Club, everybody's family. That's what makes dining here so much fun. The sushi is consistently better, the atmosphere is great, and the service is wonderful.
Welcome to the Bigger and Better Sushi Club. Come in for our delicious daily specials.
When you're talking sushi, you're talking Sushi Club in the Independence Square Shopping Center.
Hi, may I please make an appointment?
What if you called for help and no one answered?
Hi, I'd like to make
What if that help was for your unborn child? Lawsuit abuse has created a healthcare crisis, making it difficult for women to find doctors, driving good doctors out of Nevada and leaving us without healthcare. We're protecting the doctors of Nevada, and we need your help. Call 800-784-4730 now. Tell your legislator to support Keep Our Doctors in Nevada.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
In the interest of fairness, we should point out that Keep Our Docs in Nevada are one of the sponsors of this show, and we like to keep that up front. Dr. Luntz, continuing on with discussing this poll, the tri-lawyers essentially agree with the doctors on one thing. They blame the insurance industry, but theoretically, if either the insurance industry or the trial lawyers were to conduct their own poll, writing their own questions, couldn't they get more favorable responses than the ones that you've gotten?
Not when you get over 80% of the state in a very straightforward question. Is there a healthcare crisis in Nevada? 80% of your viewers would say yes. Do we need changes to the current system? Straightforward, no other wording. 80% said yes. You cannot write questions that are more explicit, more direct, and get a more direct response. You can't get around it. There's something happening in this state, and we do a lot of polling on this issue nationwide. I have never seen the results, the hostility, and in this case, the fear that people have that they won't get the medications, the doctors, the quality of medicine that they need, that they want. They won't get it on time. They won't be able to afford it because of what's happening thanks to the court system. There's no way around it.
So you blame the whole thing on the court system.
I don't blame anything. By the way, let me make this clear. These are not my opinions. These are what the public of Nevada is saying. And if you all go out and do man on the street, woman on the street interviews, you will hear exactly the same thing. People are afraid about affordability, about availability, about accessibility, and they think that the legislature has the power, and they expect the legislature to use that power to make the reforms.
All right, Dr. Luntz. And in any of this, are we talking about the cases where it's not just frivolous lawsuits, but where doctors actually maim or harm people?
That's very good. And the public would say that accountability is a key. In fact, that's in here as well. That accountability is a key component. If you have been harmed, if this has been egregious, you deserve your day in court and you deserve restitution. Absolutely. That is part of our judicial system.
But what sort of restitution do you believe in under these proposals?
Again, I don't believe in anything.
Well,
I would say
that you've presented to the public in these proposals.
The public says that if you have been hurt, you deserve to be fixed. You deserve to be made whole. But the public does not believe in this. It's almost become a game. It's almost become a lottery that doctors are just looking to play this. Doctors, I keep saying that. Lawyers are looking to play this game, knowing that 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 cases they could strike it rich. And these are not, again, I want to emphasize, these are not my opinions. You go through this list of questions. Do you believe there's a healthcare crisis? 76%. Do you believe that all these lawsuits are making life more difficult? 80%.
Let's say a doctor operates on you and erroneously removes your manhood. All right, now, what do you think?
I know this is Nevada, but I wasn't expecting that question.
What do you think? What sort of restitution should be made to you?
Well, first off, my mom would be pretty mad because then she couldn't be a grandmother. So you'd have to make restitution to her. I think the doctor would have a greater fear from my mom coming into the office than some lawyer somewhere. The public would say that the doctor and the hospital should be held accountable. Absolutely, positively, without question. But this is not an issue just of those cases. This is an issue of over 85% of the cases that are brought on medical malpractice are found to be frivolous. Less than 15% actually result in the awarding of money. The goal here is to restore common sense, is to restore a balance so that people can get the health care they need, so they can afford the health care that they need, so that the personal injury attorneys aren't ambulance chasing their way to the courtroom, and that the doctors aren't all running away to Arizona, Colorado, and California. I got to tell you something. This is the state that people come to for the American dream, and I mean that. It's not a surprise that this is one of the fastest growing states in America. You have great climate, you've got great opportunities here. It is tragic that now people are actually leaving the state because health care, which is a true quality of life issue, has reached the stage of crisis that patients can't get the access, can't afford the health care, and doctors are running away.
I need to ask you one more question.
Yes.
You have questions in the poll about re-election tactics, basically, saying that if you don't vote for reforms, you won't get re-elected. Will the doctors go after politicians who don't vote in favor of this bill? And will the insurance and trial lawyers just spend as much money to maintain these legislators in office? Doesn't it just become a big political it just looks like a really nasty threat.
You know, this has nothing to do with the doctors or the insurance companies or the lawyers, because they are a small percentage of this state. Who will go after the politicians?
But why would you ask that in the poll?
Because it is meant to demonstrate, as it surely does, that if you do nothing, if you turn a blind eye to this situation, if you assume that the reforms that were passed are enough, the public, by a 4-to-1 ratio, is saying it isn't enough. And I got to tell you something. I've done this.
You got 5 seconds.
I've done this all across the country. This number is striking. If a politician doesn't vote for more reforms, they're going to have problems next November.
Dr. Frank Luntz, it's been a pleasure having you here. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Coming up on Monday, we will have Bill Bradley representing the trial lawyers and Jim Wadhams representing the insurance industry. The Pundits will be next. Will it be more exciting than this last segment? Well, of course it will be. We'll see you right after this.
Take a break and treat the family to breakfast, lunch, or dinner at Tamarack Junction. Enjoy pasta night on Wednesdays, Mexican on Thursdays, and seafood on Fridays. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amani Ranch Parkway.
When he was just a young boy, Ken Dillon laid back, looked up at the stars, and thought to himself, hey, this house could use a roof. Today, Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal offers a complete line of elk roofing products for any type of residential roof. With an elk roof from D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal, what's overhead stays overhead. Call Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal today for a free estimate. Yes, the technology sure has changed, but after all these years, Ken still enjoys playing with houses.
The Gold Dust West has another Club Card Challenge. Triple cash points all day, all machines, all month.
Okay, what's the catch?
None. Just use your Gold Rush card any day, anytime, and on any machine during the month of February, and you'll earn triple cash points.
Triple cash points on all machines?
On all machines.
Triple cash points anytime?
Anytime.
Triple cash points all day, all machines, all month, just for using my Gold Rush card? How do they give away that much cash?
Simple. February only has 28 days.
Folks, you must see what's new in Virginia City. Ride the V&T train all the way to Gold Hill. Explore a mine, if you dare. Visit Piper's Opera House. Watch the gunslingers shoot it up on C Street. Shop in unique stores. Listen to honky tonk in the historic saloons. You can't see it all in one day, so spend the night. Virginia City, where the West comes alive. Come up and spend the night in our hotels, motels, and RV park.
At Tamarack Junction, you can take advantage of fabulous food around the clock. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, give the oven and yourself a rest. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amani Ranch Parkway.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
And back here on Nevada Newsmakers, it's time for the Pundit Panel, and today's Pundit Panel includes Andy Barbano with the Sparks Tribune, and a new member for our panel today, and we welcome her, Giunchigliani. She's a Las Vegas Democrat and a member of the Assembly, and Greg Ferraro. He is the managing partner at R&R Partners, and it's a pleasure to have you here. Ande Engleman, what do you think of this poll?
Well, I'm not too sure about the credibility of the poll, but I'd like to know whether or not something such as this poll and the pressure to put on the public, to put on lawmakers, is that going to influence the legislature, Chris?
I think we'll take it into consideration. Any poll ought to be looked at, but we need to look at it within the context. And if you look at the questions that are contained in there, he wasn't even up to date. His questions are related to questions prior to the special session. I think that's irresponsible. In addition to that, if you really look at what he asked, is there a health care crisis? And 6% of the people said yes. Well, like, duh. I mean, but then he never probed on, how do you define health care crisis? Is it your access? Is it the problem that you're underinsured or uninsured? Is it that your employer doesn't insure you? That's so global and so broad. Now, those are things that I think that the poll was misrepresenting. If you get into the context of it, I think that the public is concerned about patient care And I think that ought to be the focus of the legislature, and that's not addressed within this.
Okay, Barbano, is this going to be a boon for advertising people and pollsters?
The doctors have proven one thing. They've got tons of money to bring in a nationally recognized name who comes in here and assumes that he can turn Nevada into a bunch of Luntz heads. And I think if we do, we deserve to sit in the corner facing the wall with a Luntz cap on our heads. Mr. Luntz,
I can hear a column being written.
Mr. Luntz pioneered AOL keyword politics. I would not be surprised if it was not his idea to put up those 2 or 3 keywords behind President Bush. To do us all a favor, we can hit the mute button and we still know what the president's saying because it's got 2 or 3 AOL keywords behind us. And Mr. Luntz, as a practitioner of such cynical politics, he'll go out and find 1, 2, or 3 marketing buzzwords that people will react to and advise his clients, be they politicians or doctors, sprinkle these into your speeches, your public statements, and anything you say, because that's what the public will react to. And if he expects Nevadans to swallow that bitter pill, he's guilty of malpractice.
Well, you know, let me say this. I mean, I think Frank Luntz is probably more the messenger than the message. I think I have a couple questions. One, I wondered if they asked the question if they thought of Nevadans that if this new reform would reduce premiums, because that's what this is all about. It's what the special session was about. It's what the crisis is about in Clark County, and it's now apparently what this new bill and this new momentum is about. I'm dubious about that. I don't think it will do that. I think people either are misled or uninformed as to what these reforms will lead to. I think the achievement and the compromise that was struck in the last special session is as good as we're going to get because the insurance companies are slow to respond.
Okay, Chris, you know, the legislation was passed at the special session. Don't we need to give it some time to work?
Absolutely. I mean, everybody said during special session, including in industries from the Doctors Association as well as from the insurance companies, this needs time. We understand that our premium rates will not go down immediately. That's why the doctors that had this petition go in Clark County were not even the ones that were involved in any of the discussions, any of the debates. I don't know who they are. I suspect that they're probably well-meaning people who are being used by the insurance company as a front group to be able to continue to push the hammer on us. It really comes down to this. The insurance industry is cyclical. They deal in a hard market. Their premium rates are drawn to the stock market. They were mostly heavily invested in Enron. So you had the Enron debacle, and then we had the crisis that happened after 9/11. That drove their rates down. They've also underinsured people in the state of Nevada. The doctors have not been paying rates commensurate with what their costs are. So you had, what was it, the company, St. Paul's. St. Paul was here. They wrote about 60%, I think, of the actual claims. Well, when the other companies came in to bid, they matched those rates. They never charged what was really supposed to be charged. And in fact, Alice Mulaski, who was the insurance, or is the insurance commissioner, chided one of the companies, don't come in here with a 54% increase. You should have been doing 5 to 7% every year since you've been doing business here.
Do we have a frivolous lawsuit problem?
No. No, we do not. And I'll tell you why. Since 1992, there have been 23 jury trials in Clark County. What is the frivolousness of that? 23. Our medical screening panel worked. It worked so well that the dentists asked to have their own screening panel, and we created that. But because of the compromise last session, everybody said, then forget the screening panel.
Are you going to put the screening panel
I don't know what the status is going to be. It just depends on what bills come forward. But again, we have to allow laws to work, and it takes time to drive those premium costs down. And it takes time. It's no different to workers' compensation. You go from one extent to the other. If you swing that pendulum too far, you're going to do damage on either side. Part of our responsibility is to slow it down and be thoughtful about what decisions we've made. And I hope people will take that into consideration.
Okay, Barbano, was this poll sent for the public or for the legislators or both?
Probably both, but the reason Luntz is here to spin the poll is to, and what was his final threat in his response to your questions in the earlier segments? Was you lawmakers will pay at the polls if you don't do what my poll says. This guy's a real poll cat.
Well, I think what we're missing here is the fact that they've qualified a petition. Its constitutionality will be challenged, but the likelihood of the public having an opportunity to vote on that's pretty good. And so I think what's going to happen is, I think Mr. Luntz is a little bit off base by saying these legislators are going to have to be accountable to the public. I think the public's going to have an opportunity to vote on it.
Okay, what's the insurance industry going to do, and what are the trial lawyers going to do?
Fight it.
The trial lawyers are kind of wimping out in this whole deal. I don't see them mounting a contra campaign in the media. I'm sure there
are rumors that there is one waiting.
You know, the trial lawyers need to fire back in kind, and they certainly got the bucks to do it. The reality of this is that the whole thing is to bring us down to Texas politics and to the Texas way of doing things, which is more executions and elimination of your right to sue. The whole point of this is to keep this out of court. And when you take away people's right to sue for anything, for no punitive damages, you're licensing malpractice at that point, because all a bad doctor has to say is the insurance company will take care of it. What do I care?
And I think at some point we have to deal with the insurance industry. Senator Reid has a bill in finally to remove the exemption for antitrust laws for insurance companies. They're the only ones that are exempted. That's what's driving part of this market.
Under an act pushed by Senator Pat McCarran, the McCarran-Walter Act from 1954.
And it's time to have that overturned. So I'm hoping that the senator is very successful in that part of it, because that allows for the monopolization. And then you hear from many Republicans, oh, we're firm believers in open competition.
I gotta go. We gotta take a break. We're out of here. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. We'll be back on Nevada Newsmakers right after this.
If you're talking sushi, you're talking Sushi Club. Year after year voted the best place for sushi. 11 chefs on staff to serve you. Better ingredients for consistent high quality. And lots of room, so bring your friends. Sushi Club in the Independence Square Shopping Center.
Feel it, the magic is everywhere. The action, the style, the food, the flair. Play with us, stay with us in Reno, say El Dorado, and live the excitement. El Dorado, Reno shining star, live the excitement.
CTX can help you negotiate your best deal. We've been your home team advantage for over a decade. Call us today, because at CTX, local service still matters.
Yeah, with CTX, you're homeward bound.
The Mitsubishi Outlander is the hottest new sport utility on the market today. And right now, you can lease it at Reno Mitsubishi for just $209 a month. The Outlander is sporty, features all-wheel drive, and is the best buy in its class. You owe it to yourself, and you deserve it. Come down and lease a brand new 2003 Outlander for just $209 a month. It's for a limited time only, so find your way down to Reno Mitsubishi today.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, consistently voted Reno's best buffet by locals. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch.
Atlantis.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
Who's coming up Monday?
Jim Wadhams from the insurance industry and Bill Bradley from the Nevada Trial Lawyers.
We'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend.